You to please tell again, how was it that you came? You came through the United Nations, and your first contact was with Valseiro?
Well, I had a very irrational driving force to come to Argentina in general, because when I was 4.5 years old, my father immigrated to Argentina. So my parents divorced, and he married a new wife of German origin. So I had 5 semi-brothers and sisters around here. So that was an emotional driving force to accept. I don't think I would have accepted it without this fact as a background. And one of my colleagues, Tor Ragnar Gerholm, was here ahead of me, and so working at the Atomic Energy Commission in Buenos Aires. So he inspired me to come after him.
And your specialty was in nuclear physics?
At that time it was in nuclear physics, but the last 20 years I have been working in precision physics, measuring atomic masses to 10 to minus 10 accuracy. And that was the subject I talked about when I was here 3 years ago.
Yes, and so you came to Buenos Aires in 1958?
I came to Buenos Aires in 1958, yes, in October or somewhere.
And first to the university,
I was in the physics department, because somehow, which I don't remember, the contract was changed from being here the whole time to Buenos Aires, because as you certainly know, Perón closed the Faculty of Science and the Engineering School, because he had the most political opposition from these universities.
Yes, and at the time the Atomic Energy Commission was spared all the...
Yes, for obvious reasons, because Veronica also touched the Richter story that maybe Argentina should have an atomic bomb, and my cover effect was really a nucleus for the birth of Balseiros Institute, because he was a member of the committee who told the president that this Richter was a
fraud. You never met Richter?
No, I never met him, but I was on the island. I have forgotten. I think it was Mekba who showed me all these big loudspeakers. His idea was to change the distribution of the heavy hydrogen molecules by feeding in sound.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
So in the island, the laboratories were still standing, and
it was still there, and the Americans got a little bit worried, because he ordered several hundred oscilloscopes, and they were still sitting there on the shelves when I visited the island.
You didn't use any of those?
No, it was not good quality, but really I succeeded, which makes me very proud, to get a new modern Tektronix oscilloscope to Balseiros Institute. And we were Peter and I was even able to make a very important work, namely using this modern oscilloscope to measure a nuclear lifetime in the region of millisecond, which was very hard at that time. So it was even published before I left here.
Okay, so that
in an international paper.
So that was it was a publication by Tiberger and yourself, or
we were the two only authors.
And so you came for a summer school from Buenos Aires with students from both.
It was that was my answer to Rolando Garcia, that the best way of taking care of the students was to make a 2-month summer school, and that had to be done somewhere. And I am very proud that Garcia and Balseiro, who were a little bit on each side of the barrier, so to speak, that they blessed this summer school. Even Gaviola, who I came to know in Buenos Aires, was very, very happy about this initiative.
Gaviola was at that time was in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, he was there, and I remember one of the first days he took me to the lab, and then he told me that unfortunately most of the students he gets come from very rich families, and they don't have any experience of they have never repaired their bicycles, and some of them don't know even how to tighten their shoe strings. And one of his first elaboration was to there was a big plank, 2-3 meters, and then they were supposed to make a line as a guide for the saw, and then they were supposed to saw the plank exactly perpendicular. And I thought it was very strange, but then Gaviola told me, you cannot imagine how little experience they have of using their hands.
Yes, Gaviola was like that.
But there were also some unpleasant memories. You know, right outside my office door, I heard Gaviola and Westerkamp in a very wild dispute, and suddenly I heard a sound that somebody fall to the floor, and Westerkamp had hit Gaviola with a perfect knockout.
Yes.
So the old man was lying there on that was not the atmosphere I was used to.
Yes, I cannot. Well, it's no longer like that.
And what I especially remember about Gaviola was his old car, which looked like a big cigar. And one day he took me out. I was sitting back in the back hole, and he in the front, and he made a Buenos Aires tour with his car.
But he was working in the University of Buenos Aires.
Yeah, at that time he was. Yes. Yeah. He was to me a super idealist.
And yes, he was.
And I even took some a very beautiful portrait picture of him. By the way, some of what I am telling here appeared in Ciencia Hoy, the year when you had your 50th birthday. So there you can find some of what I talked about here. And a beautiful portrait of Gaviola.
And yes, you had some photographs, color photographs.
When I had a lot of them, and I gave somebody whose name I have forgotten, who was responsible for reproduction and so on. So I gave the institute 30 pictures of that size from
yes, some are online.
You can probably find them somewhere. And there were even photos of Gaviola, Röderer and Petro Tiber meeting me at the airport.
Yeah, okay. So Gaviola was there with you in Buenos Aires as
Yes.
part of the university, and he was in charge of the physics department. And,
This I don't remember. Now, yeah, maybe I'm not sure.
But he was like a more close contact, I imagine, than Rolando Garcia.
Yes.
And
Veronica may remember who was in charge of the physics department.
I think it was Westerkamp.
And
then they had some disagreement. Westerkamp, Jose Westerkamp.
It was not Giambiarci.
I am not sure. I
Well,
am
you
not
can
sure.
check that
Yes,
in
that's-
other ways.
I'm not sure.
I dealt almost entirely with Garcia.
Okay. And what was your impression of the university at Buenos Aires at the time?
Well, I can only speak about the physics department.
Yes, of course.
And it was a disaster. There was nothing worked. There was absolutely no equipment whatsoever. It was empty. So that was one of my ambitions, to help them to be equipped. And that wouldn't have been possible without the help of Balseiro. Because when the summer school was over, Peter Tiber was in the last year, and he was supposed to stay for another half a year, but I succeeded to convince Balseiro to let him join me in the University of Buenos Aires. And then when I left, he joined me to Sweden, so he got his thesis there.
He made a thesis in Sweden. In what university was it? What was the university in Sweden?
It was not the university. It was the Institute of Manne Sigban, who was a Nobel laureate.
Yeah, I've heard about him. Okay. Right. Lise Meitner was there. Do you know her?
I had
nothing to do with.
No, but I had 1 year together with her, and she was a person who the younger one of us didn't come close. She, for me, it is a wonder that she became 91 years old, because she was a chain smoker and was very irresponsible handling radioactive substances. You know, when the sodium iodide crystal became a powerful way of measuring gamma rays, we had a recipe from America of how you should make perfect crystals from. They are very hygroscopic, so you have to cut. You had to cut it with razor blades, and And we did that according to the American recipe, and the background was absolutely crazy. So we, until one day, one of us reminded that this was the laboratory of Lise Meitner. So we moved the equipment to another room, and then we got the normal background. So we had to take out all the benches and the carpets and clean her laboratory.
I see. And okay. So when you met Balseiro here or in Brussels?
Of course, I met him here, and as Veronica told the other day, he was very eager to invite foreign physicists, and he invited several times all of us for dinner in his private house. And the other day I was a little bit impressed by not. I mean, his wife's face hasn't changed in these 50 years, though she evidently had troubles with her emotions.
Yes.
How is she, by the way, now?
I think she was all right.
Okay.
And your personal impression of Balseiro?
It was the impression. He was another idealist, but compared to Gaviola, he was always trying to make peace, so to speak. But Gaviola had an opinion about something, and there was no space for changing the details of his own idea.
Yes, that's the impression I got. Balseiro